Hi, this is Daryl Myatt from Keller, Texas. Today is Monday, December 13th, 2010. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Mine was pretty crazy. Those Cowboys let me down again. Anyway, not going to get into that. Let's talk about what's going on right now. One of the first things I saw today just made me leap for joy. You've probably seen this. I'm reading this one out of politicsdaily.com. The key provision of the health care law is ruled unconstitutional by a federal judge. Oh! That's a reason to celebrate. A lot of things I do on this channel are political and religious in nature, and a lot of people say, those are like the two subjects you should never talk about. They're like taboo. Don't all talk about anything but politics and religion. You'll hear people say that. I disagree. Politics pretty much determines how we're going to live daily on this planet, and religion determines how we're going to live for eternity after we leave this planet. So I think the two go hand in hand. I do have to say this. I do not consider myself a big political advocate. I neither consider myself Republican nor Democrat. Until this year, I have never voted straight party. This year, okay, I'm guilty, had to admit, went in there and just went Republican across the board, just because I wanted to see a change from where we were going and the direction we were heading. Never done that before. I've never voted party only. And I know I'm probably sharing way too much personal info with you here, but I vote people. Okay, I'm one of those few that actually research the people that are up for election. I check out what they believe, what they don't believe. But I was very happy to see this federal judge saying that the health care law is unconstitutional. If you're not familiar with Obama's health care, you can read this 2,000-plus page document. You can go to, I don't have the link, but government.org or something. I've read bits and pieces of it. A lot of things I disagree with. For one thing, federally funded abortions paid for by everyone. The government forcing everyone to buy insurance, health care. No, can't do that. Not in a democracy. Okay, I was very happy to see this. It says, in a major blow to the White House, a federal judge in Virginia ruled today that a key provision of the new national health care reform law is unconstitutional. U.S. District Court Judge Henry Hudson said that forcing individuals to purchase health insurance was in violation of the Constitution Commerce Clause, the Washington Post reported. Excellent. Excellent. I love that. That made me very happy. When I saw that come out and I read part of it, and I saw where everyone had to pay for nationally funded abortions, and that certain members of society would be implanted with RFID chips to keep their medical records and other records implanted under their skin. Sounds like the Antichrist, the mark of the beast to me. I was so against this from the beginning. I'm certainly glad it's falling apart now. Of course, we knew when the Democrats or the Republicans won the elections in November that Obama's health care would probably be turned away anyhow, but sigh of relief. I was happy to see that. And again, I don't endorse either party. I don't really trust politicians. I think they all lie to get elected and then do what they want to advance their own careers and to make them more money. And, it's not government of the people, by the people, for the people any longer. It's government for the government. And to heck with the people. That's what I see. Anyway, not getting into that. Here's a story out of abc.net. Government fears a nuclear war in the Middle East. The federal government fears a nuclear confrontation between Iran and Israel could draw Australia into another war in the Middle East, according to U.S. diplomatic cables released by WikiLeaks and published in Fairfax newspapers today. The cables present Foreign Minister Kevin Rudd as being very supportive of Israel, and he is praised for his tough stance against Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Sorry, I can't help it. I think he's a nut. Oh well. Anyway, I'm not going to read all that, but these WikiLeaks things, and I don't know if this was planted, if this was planned, if this was, released for a reason. I don't know. I have a hard time thinking it was intentional on the Americans' part, because a lot of things released are embarrassing to America. So, I don't know what to think of exactly of these WikiLeaks things, whether it was intentional or if it truly was top secret information that was released to us. I'm not sure, but I think it's interesting some of the things that have come out. Australia has been very much against China as well. Again, Australia's foreign policy minister said the Chinese are, to use a well-known phrase, brutal realists themselves. They had little doubt about where Australia stood, gave them a chance to exercise a tiny bit of leverage against Rudd in particular. But anyway, a lot of crazy things in that WikiLeaks thing. So again, I kind of take it with a grain of salt, but some of the things are too hard to ignore. Anyway, let's move on. This next story out of Debka.com. Iran's nuclear chief named foreign minister to pump up nuclear bomb drive. Wait a minute. These guys have been telling us for years their pursuit for nuclear technology was for peaceful purposes. And now they're saying they're pursuing nuclear bombs? How peaceful is that? When you say peaceful purposes, you're talking about electricity for their country. Providing an energy, a power source. Not for building bombs. Bombs are not peaceful. Okay? Bombs are not peaceful. This story says Nuclear Energy Commission Director Ali Akbar Salehi was appointed Iran's new foreign minister today, Monday, December 13th, in midstream of resumed nuclear diplomacy to make sure the six world powers, headed by the United States, understood that Tehran was determined to go full speed ahead with its nuclear weapon program without giving Washington an inch on any related issues. Really? Nuclear weapon program? First I've heard of it. I'm sorry. These guys have been lying to us all along. Who is to believe that they're going to tell us the truth now? Debka files Iranian sources expect that after Manoucher Mottaki's sacking as foreign minister was announced today, Tehran's campaign against the Obama administration will be more aggressive than ever before, and it drives even harder to axe every American position of influence in the Middle East and Persian Gulf. By dropping Mottaki, President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad strengthens his lineup of wholly dedicated pro-nuke advocates headed by Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Salehi, Defense Minister Ahmed Wahidi, and Intelligence Minister Haidar Maslahi. These names kill me. Sorry. Let's see. An Iranian military communique divulged that Iran's ground forces had completed a large war game near the Iraqi border. Iran usually makes big propaganda play of its military exercises. This time it was kept secret, and even the closing bulletin gave away very little. However, the two events in one day posted a message to Washington that Iranian military strength was arrayed to confront U.S. forces in Iraq. They're coming out straight up telling us what they're doing. Why are we not responding? Don't know. I tend to blame the administration from the top all the way down. Not top as in God, but, president all the way down. Anyway, this out of myway.com says North Korea threatens South Korea with nuclear war. This out of Seoul, Korea. North Korea warned today that U.S.-South Korean cooperation could bring a nuclear war to the region as the South began artillery drills amid lingering tension nearly 3 weeks after the North's deadly shelling of a South Korean island. So these drills, these naval live-fire drills, are scheduled to run today through this Friday at 27 different sites, and the North Koreans are watching this with a microscope. Okay, let's move on. This out of WorldNet Daily. Obama is encouraging a diplomatic assault on Israel. Palestinian officials say the president is quietly permitting recognition of a Palestinian state. Not good. This out of Tel Aviv. Palestinian officials tell WorldNet Daily the Obama administration is only giving lip service to resisting a Latin American declaration recognizing a Palestinian state outside of the framework of an agreement with Israel. I'm not going to read this story in length, but Obama is not saying anything to Argentina, Egypt, and Uruguay that said, hey, Palestinians, we recognize you as a state, even though you have no place to call home. Here's something out of Jerusalem Post. Ahmadinejad to Gaza convoy. Israel is an insult to humanity. called Israel an insult to humanity in a speech to the participants of an Asian humanitarian convoy in Tehran today. This guy is world famous for saying Israel should be wiped off the face of the earth. They should be driven into the sea. They're a plague on the earth and should be wiped out. And oh yeah, we're pursuing nukes. Wondered what his thoughts are there. Here's something out of IsraelToday.com. Palestinians say helping Israel put out the fire was a disgrace. Okay? More than half of the Palestinian Arabs who participated in a survey by the Bethlehem-based Mayan news agency said it was disgraceful that their government, the Palestinian Authority, helped Israel put out last week's devastating Carmel fire. Said it was disgraceful to help someone in need. That's that peaceful religion again, people. This is the way they think. Moving on. Here's something you're never going to hear anybody say. This also out of Israel Today. Israeli troops rescue a sinking Ukrainian boat. Israel Air Force and Naval Forces took part in the daring rescue of 11 Ukrainian sailors whose ship was caught in a fierce winter storm about 8 miles from the southern Israel port of Ashdod on Sunday morning. They went out of their way to rescue these guys. No one will ever tell you about this, probably more than me. Because, hey, can't lift up Israel and make them look good, make them look helpful, heaven forbid. Okay, I'm still talking about prayer, but all until the day of Christmas, I want to give you a little prophecy of Jesus and the fulfillment. This starting, let's go with out of Micah 5 verse 2. It says, "But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting." Here's the fulfillment. Matthew 2, verse 1 and 2 says, "Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him." This is also found in Luke 2, verse 4 through 7, where that says, Joseph went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David. You can also read about it in John 7, verse 41 and 42. Where it says, "Others said, This is the Christ. But some will say, Will the Christ come out of Galilee? Has not the Scripture said that the Christ comes from the seed of David and from the town of Bethlehem, where David was?" Okay, still talking about prayer also. Let's go to Hebrews 12, verse 1 and 2. It says, "Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith." Okay, have you ever heard the phrase, "What would Jesus do?" You know, it's been kind of a cultural catchphrase, a cliche punchline for some comedians. You know, the little bracelets everybody seemed to jump on board with a while back. Regardless, it's still a great question to ask ourselves. When it comes to the things of God, Jesus is our standard for straight. Okay? Jesus is. If we're lost or unsure about anything pertaining to our faith, we're always pointed in the right direction just by looking at Jesus. Okay? He set the standard. He left an example for us to follow, and we shouldn't miss the fact that he not only prayed on a regular basis, but he prayed thankful prayers on a regular basis. Now take note of what he said in these following prayers. In Matthew 11, verse 25, Jesus said, "At that time Jesus answered and said, I thank you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and prudent, and have revealed them to babes." Okay, let's go to John 6, verse 11, where Jesus said, John 6, verse 11. Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks to God, and distributed them to the people. And in John 11:41, Jesus said, "Father, thank you for hearing me." Okay, in John 17, you can read about all the ways that Jesus prayed for us. And it was amazing. He said, I do not pray, in verse 17, verse 20, "I do not pray for these alone, but also for those who will believe in me through their word." Listen, Jesus gave thanks to God all the time, and he prays to God on your behalf and on my behalf, and we should thank him forever and have the same attitude. God bless you. Hope to see you again tomorrow.